I play a lot of indie games. I've seen it all, from the great to the not so great, and CrossCode falls squarely in the great category, especially compared to other indie action RPGs. With deep characters, a compelling story, incredible visuals, and thoughtful design, it's hard to not be captivated by its world. CrossCode is an indie action RPG that takes place in a fictional MMORPG called Crossworlds. Crossworlds is actually built and projected on a real moon with real employees for this VR Disneyland that actually live there right in the playable space. That sounds like hell. Imagine being what is essentially an NPC to the players of a game, but you are real and just trying to live your life. Anyways, you play as a girl named Lee who is stuck in the game and suffering amnesia. You find yourself working with a kind but mysterious man to regain your memories and unravel a sinister plot. Along the way, you meet many colorful characters that help you on your journey. And that's as much as I will go into the story, because it's genuinely very well done, and I want you to play it yourself. But I do want to go into detail about everything that makes this game great, so this video will spoil everything up to and including the first major dungeon. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Characters. Within the first act, you meet 14 reoccurring characters. Some are small, some are big, but even the one-off side quest player characters are written with such personality, they all feel like they're their own people with lives outside the game. You meet my favorite, Sergey, that mysterious helper from earlier, very fast. And you also meet Lee, your character. Her speech module is jammed, and so Sergey is forced to code words for Lee to say, all while telling her to maintain a low profile. So her vocabulary is extremely limited. Most of Lee's personality is portrayed through her expressions, but she finds creative ways to make sentences throughout the game. One of my favorite supporting characters is Emily, your first companion and party member. She introduces Lee to her friends guild and everyone hits it off great. This is where you meet most of the supporting characters. And Emily also serves a very important role as your first party member. Chapter 2. Parties. The game has a party system that lets you fight alongside your guildmates throughout the game. The surprising thing is that they simulate a party of different players very well. Go to the shop and get some upgrades, and they do too. They don't have builds or anything like that, but they do have their own classes and abilities. They are very useful and rarely get in the way. They combo with you, attack weak spots, and stun enemies. The characters in your party will also talk to each other and Lee when exploring, bringing up hypotheticals or telling anecdotal stories. I think the party system works great to stop you from feeling lonely in what's meant to be an MMO world. Chapter 3. Combat. Right off the bat, the game greets you with fluid combat. You are taught how to shoot, melee, dodge, and block. And then you level up and it's like, whoa. There are 8 special abilities to choose from, 2 for each basic ability, with a sizable skill tree of passives attached to each of them. And like I said earlier, your party members also have their own skills that they use, and enemies have lots of weak spots and stun windows, making fights against hordes of monsters a fun little dance through a battlefield. Oh, and the grading system is sick. It starts like this, and then, after enough kills, it goes... The higher your grade is, the more loot drops you get from the enemies. But you only passively heal outside of combat, and ending combat resets your rank. So, it's a great risk-reward system. The rank system is amazing for incentivizing the player to challenge themselves in the name of good loot. So yeah, the combat system is pretty deep. But what if it went deeper? Chapter 4. Elemental abilities. Partway through the first dungeon, you get the power of fire. Then you open up your skill tree and realize there's a whole new section for fire. Every level up, you get 1 point in every skill tree you have unlocked. This also works retroactively when finding a new power. This skill tree has its own passives that are only active when you have fire selected. This basically means you can have multiple builds you can switch to on the fly. You might have been able to guess by the UI, but there are 4 elements in the game, and they later synergize with each other in cool ways through status effects and attack combos. Oh yeah, because all of the elements also have their own special attacks for the 4 basic abilities. It's crazy that there's so much choice in how you build your character, and that's without considering the fact that there are dozens upon dozens of equipable items that augment your stats and abilities. And the game does such a good job teaching you all of this in Chapter 5. The Dungeon. The first dungeon is an old mine that awakened some ancient evil. Cliché, but fine. Every dungeon is an instance, meaning your party members can't join you. This journey must be done alone. Puzzles start pretty simple, your classic push blocks and some laser bounce puzzles. But as the dungeon ramps up, they introduce more and more puzzle elements, and every puzzle element functions with every other in some way. Bombs can be used to move sliding blocks while you stand on them. Fire shots turn a bomb into a rocket, doing serious damage and creating more cool puzzles. The whole dungeon is frozen over. Oh, and as you go deeper, there's more and more ice. That might sound annoying, ice physics, am I right? But it really isn't. Dashing and running on ice feels great. It's like Lee has ice skates. And it even manages to make combat on ice fun. Anyways, it's Zelda. The game has dungeons as good as old school Zelda games, and that's crazy. It just keeps building mechanics upon mechanics to create engaging and fun puzzles and fights. And this is all Act 1. Look, I just think CrossCode does a lot of stuff well. It's a great game that clearly had tons of love poured into it. I think if you like games like Hades and Zelda, you'll love the experience. The game is around 30 hours long, and the entire thing is quality. I wholeheartedly recommend this game to anyone. Oh, and speaking about recommending stuff, I recommend you check out my other videos. Thank you to anyone who stuck it out till the end, and I hope to see you on the next one.